This is a message from your guides reading for the child. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and surround us in some positive space with my purple fluorite. Okay, so I have a guide coming up. So this is a female guide. She's a very calming, kind of soft kind of energy coming in. Very kind of angelic, maybe extraterrestrial as well. But a very kind of calming, soothing type of energy she has. So she's just saying to let go and relax, and it feels like kind of take a breather. And when you go through a kind of tremendous clearing and activation as well, it's like there are breaks during it. There are kind of pauses where you're still kind of in the process of clearing things, but it feels like, whew, I need to kind of take a break. I need to kind of take a breather. And it kind of feels like maybe don't focus so much on clearing in every moment or in every stage of the process. Because sometimes it's a little too much to handle to just keep going and going and going and going. And we just have to kind of breathe and relax. I feel like you can still do something like meditate and breathe really deeply. Focus on your breath, maybe be out by some trees. Focus on a really calming, soothing energy and just being present, aligned with yourself, comfortable with yourself, it feels like, and at ease, being yourself, being who you are. I feel like you're getting in touch with that more, where it's like the reason that you're starting to become a bit more centered, more focused, and you're able to be more aligned, which eventually is going to cause you to become more and more grounded. It feels like the reason that that is actually occurring is because of how much more comfortable you are getting with yourself and your own wisdom and understanding. And there's a feeling like it's time for certain behaviors to just come to an end, and you're dropping those. You're dropping certain negative thoughts about yourself and feelings. Um, it feels like even intentions for yourself, but more like on a subconscious level where you have pulled things towards yourself, kind of to teach yourself a lesson in a positive way, but on the other side of that, the negative side of that, it feels like in more of this victimizing way, or more out of an unworth. and to sort of almost show yourself that you are unworthy. And so you pull that in, whereas now it feels like that's more changing. You're kind of, they're saying it's like you're kind of redecorating your aura in a sense, your energy field. And you are, that's weird, the analogy that they're giving. So she's reminding me of this thing in the Bible. This is from the Old Testament. When a king was chosen, or actually, I guess this was only the first king, because after that, obviously, they didn't choose them anymore. They were just whoever was born. Um, but when the first king was anointed, the prophet came to him and he anointed his head with oil. And she's showing me that. So one thing that oil represents is like a kind of soothing and healing thing, because it's like a balm. And so it's like a coating where you put it over sores and it heals them, or it coats them, or even like dry skin, something that's like bothering you, or it's not feeling well. You put it on it to soothe it, comfort it, heal it. So there's this energy of bringing peace, tranquility, to your auric space, and that's as you let go more and more. And so that's something that's more coming towards you and traveling towards you. I remember that actually came up as well, even in the group Patreon reading. But then this is coming up also personally in your reading. So clearly, that some of that was definitely for you specifically. And there's definitely a lot of healing energy coming towards you now, because that's what I just keep feeling over and over and over throughout this whole reading. And this guide very much has that kind of angelic quality, and she's really bringing that through. Definitely, there could be some other sides, maybe to her personality, so that she can help you with other things. Um, and everybody has kind of different moods in a sense, or like different purposes for sort of each moment, um, each thing that they're intending to do. It kind of invokes a different response within yourself. So guides are the same way. They're not like monotone where they just hold the same expression or feeling, for all eternity, just because they happen to be on a higher level. Um, Obviously, they still change. Change is constant. They're people, they're entities that can help you, that can understand and relate to you. And also, guides tend to have had similar experiences before as well. That's another thing that not everybody realizes about guides, but a lot of them have had past lives. Most of them, even most of the ones that I've read that are around people, so they have had experiences in lower dimensions, which is why they're able to help someone who is experiencing currently a lower dimension, and they're able to help them, um, they're able to help to lift them higher and lift them into a higher vibration, like a lighter mood, a more joyous space, a more joyful experience, and where they can connect with themselves more and be more free and more clear of blocks more. This is because they've experienced it to a degree themselves, maybe even a lot, depending on the guide and how many lives they've had and how many different types. Then there are some obviously who have pretty much only experienced it indirectly, where they've had a lot of experience with clearing thought forms from people who are on lower dimensions, or they've just encountered a lot of lower dimensional thought forms that they have cleared, or that they have just sort of, in a sense, studied. Just they know how they work from being around them, from seeing them operate, or they've been around lower entities. Right, but all of them know how to clear things. And all of them have a lot of experience with going through things that need to be cleared. And so it's not just that they can help you with it from this higher perspective, it's also that they've had a lower perspective. And so they can relate to that perspective, they can understand it, and they can sort of help get you out of it and break you free of certain lower things that we experience on this plane for growing and learning purposes, for our soul to expand and become higher, become better in a sense, or improve, and to learn more, ultimately, to grow. So that's why we go through things. That's why we need to be cleared. And so we're all children in a sense. And we all have the ability to learn no matter what state we're in, no matter what dimension we're on. That's why change is constant. And change is the ability to learn and to grow and to, in a sense, improve, to get better, to heighten ourselves, become more aware of who we are. So this guide is saying that she's still becoming more aware of who she is. On a higher level, she's becoming more and more aware of who she is. So it's just she happens to be on a higher dimension, and in a sense, she, I guess you could say, is an aspect that is more evolved. Maybe she's had a lot more lifetimes. And that's why she's able to guide you, but at the same time she's been there before. And so she has an understanding, but she's still, in that sense, she's still on the same page with you. You're equals for the reason that she has been there before, so she's on par with you. In other words, you can easily end up at her level or beyond her or anywhere depending on your experience, and you're the driver and there aren't any limits to that. And to what you can experience. It's all about what you allow yourself to attain or what you disallow yourself to experience. And it's what you come into harmony with, she's saying, or disharmony with. And she's saying that it's what you choose to be shown, but you're showing it to yourself. And you're choosing to be shown it by yourself. And she's saying, so she's saying to be shown it by yourself, as in you are showing it to yourself, but then she's also turning that and saying, in a sense, also by yourself, as in the sense of we're all alone. In a sense, we're all alone. Now, on the one hand, we're very, very connected, but we experience this separation. We experience this illusion to separate ourselves in a way where we can experience something false in a sense, but also because there's this quality that being an individual presents, where we can end up seeing through the separation. And we realize that we're not alone, we're connected to all things. But there's also this sense that we are all alone. And so she's saying that people reject that. They reject getting to know themselves. They don't like being alone. But if they would realize that we're all connected, then stepping into yourself, it feels like you're stepping into the unknown. It's like there's this fear to get in touch with yourself that we all have. But she's saying that as you become more and more in touch with yourself and you get through that, you work past that, and that sort of conflict in a sense where you want to get to know yourself. We all do. We're all in a sense intrigued by ourself, the thought of ourself and who we are, remembering who we are. And this is kind of this theme here where we have all these even movies constantly coming out where you have a superhero. They don't know they have powers, and then they have to remember who they are and sort of come into their energy again and into their abilities again, or maybe something awakens that within them. Maybe they didn't have those abilities in a conscious, tangible way, and something happens to them. And so, but again, though, it's like they have this realization of who they are, what they can be, what they can do. So that's this sort of theme here. But even to get to that stance, you have to realize that you are connected to everything. So it feels like you're stepping into the unknown. And so there's this fear. But really you're stepping into the vast universe. So when you step into yourself, it's like the deeper and deeper you go, the more you end up connecting to everything and to the cosmos. But you still have your individuality. And she's saying that that's a gift, because that's a way that we can collectively grow. And that's a way that we can change and adapt and morph. And it's like if we were so connected that we were only one being, we wouldn't be able to have interaction. And so it would be a very different learning experience. Because it's like, what would you have to learn with? If there weren't this idea of that is there, I am here. This idea in a sense of separate things. Even objects, the chair, the shoe. I have a chair and a pair of shoes in the room over here. So she's using that, she's pointing them out. The jacket, there's a jacket over there, there's a hoodie. Anyway. But even that sense, you can interact with things, you can explore things. There can be other planets. Because that wouldn't be there either if it was just all one thing. So it's not that you couldn't learn, it's not that that wouldn't be possible, but it would be in a very, very different way. And this, in a sense, is a complete way. It's like in its entirety. You can learn so many various different things by splitting yourself up into all these ridiculous amounts of perspectives instead of just one thing that just experiences itself and nothing else. And she's saying that you can be in that state for a little while, but after a while you're going to want change. So you're going to end up creating change. And that's going to end up becoming a law of the universe because you want it to be there. And you want to experience something new. And you want to experience a challenge. So these opportunities to grow are something that we wanted. And collectively we want that way of growing and understanding. And we want things to seem more complex in a sense and not so simple. But she's saying that when you break it down, it's very, very simple. But she's saying that it's hidden. So it appears complex because you don't have all the answers yet. The answers, in a sense, are hidden. They're hiding from view. But really, if you just connected to yourself, all of the answers are there. They are derived from you. And you're the one who gave yourself the questions to begin with. So you are the questioner. You're also the answerer. You're also the responder. And you always have the correct response. And whether you're getting it from a guide, whether your intuition is telling you to do that, whatever you bump into, whatever way you have of explaining it to yourself, you're still pulling that vibration toward yourself. So you're still answering yourself in that sense, even if you're using somebody else or some other tool in order to do it. This is still yourself responding. Your higher self is always responding. So she's saying to have patience with yourself. She's saying that they have an unlimited amount of patience for you and for themselves. But she's saying that it takes a lot more time to cultivate patience for ourselves than for others, surprisingly. We have a lot more of a harder time realizing our own worth than we do in realizing it about somebody else. And appreciating our own worth, our own value, more than we have a hard time appreciating the value of someone else. And appreciating their time and their effort and their qualities and their abilities. And their habits, even she's saying, their habits that are good, or their disciplines, and the things that they have accomplished, what they've achieved. She's saying, and even what they look like in a physical way. she's saying, but when it comes to ourselves, we see flaws. And we don't have all of the answers, and we're impatient with ourselves. But really, all of the answers are there, and it's a complete package. You're not only the person asking the questions, you also respond. You have the ability to respond, you have the ability to communicate with yourself and interact with yourself. And she's saying, and isn't that interesting that there's more than one of you? There must be more than one of you if you can interact with who you are. There are different layers, different pieces of yourself. Okay, so that is the message for this reading. So thank you very much. We're a little bit short on the time, just by a few minutes, but I'm sure in some of the reading we'll go over, if we haven't already, by a few minutes. So anyway, thank you so much, the child, once again, for allowing me to bring another message through from your guides, and I truly hope that it benefits you. Namaste.